Greetings and salutations to all you folks out there. We're going to be doing a subcom cast today. It is, yes, a real cast on Tag Craftiest Maximus. This is a 1 versus 1 game between Seacraft2, otherwise known as No Fear. I'm going to be referring to him as No Fear, and Depony of the GFY clan. So these guys have gone Seraphim over here in the top left versus UEF on the bottom right. Now, Tag Craftiest Maximus is a very interesting map because Navy can be played and has a huge influence on the game if you do go Navy, but sometimes it's not the deciding factor. The center island is a singular landmass, so if you go 100% land spam, sometimes you can overpower your opponent so quickly that they can't even get off the ground in any other area. If they went for air, or they went for Navy, or maybe even both, they're just going to get steamrolled. It does look like we do have a land factory over here for No Fear. He is going for 2 mexes, walk, grab 2 more mexes, and the hydro build off of his factory. Not sure why he placed it so far away. Perhaps there was a gap in the trees there. Pony, on the other hand, is going for extra power. He's got 2 P-gens going for the hydro immediately. Building some mass extractors with his ACU. Walking, of course, to place things more efficiently, because you do not ever want to walk all the way to a mass extractor in order to build it. You place your move orders. You can actually see it there. He placed a move order there and then placed down his mass extractors. Got another engineer going out this way to grab those and plant down a radar, and then another engineer over to this side to build the mass extractors. Now, there are mass extractors out in the water. These things can only be killed by torps because they are under the sea. Under the sea. Anyway, we're not going to turn this into a karaoke time. I promise. I promise. At least only a little bit. So you will want some submarines to go out and raid these. Alternatively, or the flip side of that, if you build all of these, the enemy can't kill them unless they have a submarine. So if you versus someone who doesn't go Navy, then they're basically free mass extractors in that case. Then you've also got islands out here. There are some reclaim rocks out here. Looks like 75 mass per 1. People are always asking me how I get that if you're in the FAF version of the game. It is shift plus control, and it shows you all of the reclaim on the entire map. Speaking of which, there are also all of these rocks, which have 10 apiece, and some more scattered throughout that have 5. Nice little raid over on this side. Gonna pick up an engineer kill. Did not even get that mass extractor done. Unfortunately, gonna run into a THAM. So the tanks have come to counter, and they are going to dominate. Labs will never ever work against a tank unless you want to invest a ridiculous amount of micro, and they're still not mass effective. Only like 1 versus 1 in that kind of situation, or 2 versus 1, I should say. Got an engineer headed out from No Fear, gonna pick up the mexes on the plateau over there. Always a good spot to pick up, because if you plant some artillery around here, you're going to be able to rain down fire and destruction upon the units around the plateau. That is a good little bomber there, picking up a second engineer kill. 2 kills so far. Looping back around, you can see the skittering of move orders as he tries to get in range, pick his target, and he is going to drop on an artillery piece. Kill it, but I'm sure he probably thought that was an engineer. You always want to go after the engineers with your bombers, because those are by far the most valuable targets. If you can kill them off, that eliminates the possibility of an expansion down here until another engineer walks all the way down from the closest factory. That's going to put these mexes being claimed back a good 45 seconds to a minute. I'm not sure what the travel time is there exactly. Looking at the income board, we've got Seacraft at 45 per tick and Pony at 37. And that is mostly thanks to the extra mass extractors that have been picked up by No Fear all throughout the map. Some of this is being made up for by the few mass extractors that have been claimed by Pony out in the water. He does have 3 more than his opponent does. Oh, and he has popped out a sub. So we do have a naval factory over here building submarines. Those are effectively the raiding units on this map. They're going to blip around the outside edge, try to pick up all of these mass extractors and engineers before they can cause any mischief. Now, since these are UEF engineers, they are down in the water, and they will be able to be killed by torpedoes. However, if you do run into a hover engineer, don't forget your subs do have deck guns. You can come up out of the water, and you will be able to shoot those engineers down. Just be careful that there isn't a handy-dandy frigate nearby, because the frigates will absolutely trash you. Looks like this is going to be an easy win for Seacraft. He has got quite a few more tanks But look at all of the production coming online for Pony. He is absolutely setting up for a monster of a land spam. So he is going to start streaming tanks down here, quickly outnumbering Seacraft's units on hand. No fears, I should say. I really wish that everyone had not renamed to Seacraft 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Makes things so utterly confusing. I am curious as to whether or not Pony is going to have the eco to maintain this. He is not. He is heavily power stalling, and he will be mass stalling even more so once he catches up. I'm sure he is probably banking on getting some reclaim, but at the moment he just doesn't have enough engineers. There's a few over here, which he has just queued. Nope, he's over there with an attack move order for some reason. I'm sure he probably meant to put it over there. Or perhaps he's hoping that his engineers will stay on the plateau and reclaim the rocks down below, which I am not one to bank on, because usually engineers are stupid and they try to go down and take the easiest way. So I think he's going to end up on the losing end of that one. If I were him, I would be sending a lot of engineers down here, try to pick up all of these. He does have one, so that is good, and he's finally getting the rest of his expansions online. I just hope his power situation, yep, there we go. We are back to balance, and he has just now built an air factory. He's been relying on T1 mobile anti-air and, you know, the junk attached to the ground in order to defend himself from air up to this point, but the air lead by No Fear is just too significant. He's going to have to jump into the air game so that he doesn't get bombed to death. Looks like we got 8 interceptors and a bomber. Another couple interceptors back in the base, and a T2 land shift. So more and more T1 factories have gone down for Pony. He is now looking at a grand total of 12 T1 land factories, whereas Seacraft has gone for, oh wow, he's got almost as many. He does have as many. He has 11, and then one of them has gone T2. But he does have a greater amount of mass to work with, so he's probably able to afford that heavily assisted upgrade much sooner than Pony was. Pony is just in a little bit of a bad spot. Just a teensy tiny little bit. However, Pony is pushing forward. If he can maintain this push, he'll be able to reclaim all of the wreckage behind and get a little bit of an upper hand on mass. It looks like we've got 310 reclaim for Seacraft and 1,800 rapidly ticking up for Pony. So that 3 or 4 mass per tick difference that he's been running behind this entire game does not make up that much of a difference when you count the reclaim. He is getting a pile of it. Looks like we got a T2 P-Gen going down, and then I would not be surprised at all if we saw a TAC launcher go down, because there's no T2 over here yet. At all, anywhere, no factory. There is a T2 factory building, but no T2 engineers. So if he were able to pop off a couple of TAC missiles, he would be able to hit all of these mass extractors. There are 2 upgraded and 2 that are upgrading. And he is stalling rather heavily to get those, but he will get them. He is blipping around on the reclaim ticker now and again. Nice little engagement over here on the left-hand side. Quite a few Thams died over there, but more strikers. Seacraft is going to have to pull back. No Fear is not going to be able to finish his advance at this time, but he was able to stall out the claiming of all of these mass extractors for a very, very long time. So impressive work there. Looks like these subs are still continuing to be a pain in the buttocks. There was an attempt at a naval start, but that just did not work out for him. This is going to be a bit more difficult though, and this is the huge advantage of the Seraphim on naval maps. They're going to push around mobile artillery, hit up the back side of the base. This is why I absolutely despise this map. It seems like every time I get it on the ladder with random factions selected, I will get versus a Seraphim, and then if you don't get frigates in the water, you are going to have a bad time, my good sir. T1 bombers trying to make up the difference, but it does look like Pony is in... No, he's not in control of air. He just has his air in the better location. He's going to be able to pop off that bomber, save his artillery, and those are going to pound away at the T2 mass extractors in the back of No Fear's base. The T2 tanks are beasts. They will take out quite a few T1 tanks apiece, but in this case, with the artillery and all of the numbers against them, they are going to have to retreat, very few in number, to try again another day. I think they will get those T1 mass extractors down there on the bottom, though, and that should help him out quite a bit in the eco game, especially considering the fact that he is losing his own. When I am looking at this map, I kind of tend to think that it would be safer to upgrade maybe those 2 mass extractors, or these, where the artillery would have to come up on the shore to actually shoot them, but at the same time, that puts you closer to the front lines, and then you are going to be dealing with land units. So there's really no super safe mass extractors on this entire thing. There's always a plateau that you can lose control of and artillery can hit you from there. There's always the sea where frigates can shoot at you and they cannot be hit in return by the land units. That is what makes Tag Craftiest Maximus such a complicated map to play and such a cool one to watch, because there's always something a little bit different that happens. Looks like we've got the Seraphim T1 subs destroying yet another round of T1 mexes and the T1 naval factory that has been attempted again. Artillery straying a little too close to shore. Pillar's going to be able to pick that son of a gun up, no problemo. Did lose the air factory. That looks like it might have been upgraded to T2. I'm not 100% sure. No, it was T1. There's only one construction arm. Never mind. Okay, so lost the air factory, had to rebuild it in the middle, but look at this. We got the tac launch, and I don't think it's going to do any good because, of course, 2 tac defenses went up immediately as soon as that T2 engineer came out to guard the power generator and to be in the line of fire for these 4 T2 mass extractors in the back there. It does look like Pony is getting a leg up by 20 or so mass per tick. Got a couple of Ilshivas in the back there wreaking havoc. Was that a drop? I think that may actually have been a drop, and I totally missed it. But that is okay because we see the carnage that has taken place. Pony is going to continue to increase here because he has got all of these safe mexes. Craft is trying to pick up all the mexes on the island out here, and he's being pretty dang successful at it. But at the moment, he's just having a hard time dealing with the quantity of units that Pony is pushing. And Craft at the moment is sitting on 4,000 reclaim, Pony on 6,000, so still a very significant gap there. One of the main problems that UEF is going to run into in this matchup is that Ilshivas are basically a T2.5 unit. They have a pile of range, they have a lot of damage. They do cost quite a bit though, but when you get a clump of them together, it is very difficult for the UEF units to one-up them. Maybe some well-microed mongoose, I don't know, or just the sheer quantity of pillars because they are quite speedy and Ilshivas are rather slow, but then you run into the same problem that all of the other T1 tanks have with Auroras, where basically what it boils down to is if you have a clump like this, if they have shorter range, there's only going to be about, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 tanks that are in range of any given target, but if all of the units have more range, Auroras, Ilshivas, more of them are going to be able to fire on the same target at the same time without bungling up their pathfinding. So the damage potential of the group is far, far higher when the range is there, and that is the advantage that Seraphim has in the T2. Unfortunately, they can't carry any kind of real advantage to T3. It does look like Pony's going for it, though. I'm not sure what his strategy is here. If UEF stays at T2, which it appears that No Fear is not heading for an HQ anytime soon, the Seraphim T3 tanks, the Authams, will be able to absolutely trash these groups of T1s and T2s, but I am a little concerned about the long-term viability of that plan, since UEF will simply move to Percival's, and that will be the end of it. More artillery pounding down the back of this base. Seacraft is just having a really hard time getting a handle on his economy. I mean, building up his economy and keeping it. He's upgrading T2 mexes around. He's doing the right things. Pony is just doing a better job of raiding and trying to just whittle down his opponent in all of the little ways that are so annoying and just throw you off balance in a game like this. Pony pushing up the middle with a terrifying amount of units. There is a solid group of pillars in the middle here, but Pony does have the gun upgrade. So that's going to let him reach out and touch those things with an overcharge that the pillars simply cannot hold up to. Looks like Kraft is left somewhat alone on the north side. He does have a small contingent of T1 tanks, but that is not going to be enough to save him if all of these units decide to come in at once. TG point defense is a very bad idea here. As you can see, it is trying to shoot upwards. It is hitting the cliff and not hitting the units. It's kind of in a bad spot. So the artillery is going to be able to kill it while remaining completely immune. So Jaguar, obviously a lot of people are spectating this match, and it does look like air has gone away for both sides, really. I'm not sure what led to that, probably flying over a mobile flak somewhere or another, but look at this. We've got Janus is on the field. Prepare for utter desolation. So many 10, 11 T1 unit deaths in one pass. Oh, I wish you could have dropped on that too. That would have been so good. So tasty. Oh, the Janus is the undeniable ruler of the skies in the T2 phase. If you can get it safely to its target, it will more than pay for itself in a single pass on T1 and T2 units. That is just such an utterly devastating amount of damage. Here we go again, killing off another group there. That bomber has 13 kills to the pass. Gonna make another round right here. No, why are you not? You gotta get your micro in, man. You gotta do it the right way. Another Janus passing through, getting shot down, and him again. But you can see all of the units that died in that. I think those deaths were well worth it. Buying No Fear the time that he needed to catch up a little bit in unit count. Looks like we are seeing a little bit of a shift. It is not totally there yet, but we're starting to see a little bit more Pepto-Bismol on the map and a little bit less Stormcloud. So Pony still hanging back with his gun upgrade. No additional upgrades, 3 veterancy though, so that's going to give him a whopping 19 regen per second on 15,000 potential health. And it looks like Seacraft has got gun NT2. That is a very safe UEF commander. This is exactly what I was talking about with the artillery on the Mesa. They're going to be able to fire over the top and hit engineers and whatnot on the bottom, but Janus is absolutely ruining that day. May have been a sunny one up till now, but now, oh no, the apocalypse is falling. Killer's moving in to engage the Ilshavas on the left. Pony just fighting to try to keep his landmass over here. He is sitting on a roughly equal amount of economy to No Fear, so this is once again anybody's game. Flak, oh my goodness, you flew your interceptors over. Flak, why? Why would you do such a thing? The damage though. The damage, and he's clumping them. At least the flak is super slow projectile speeds. That is the one redeeming quality. If you're flying in circles over top of it, sometimes it is difficult for the flak to focus in. Pillars coming in to demolish this little forward base, but here come the Authams. They are awful Authams, but when all they have to face up against is T2, they will utterly demolish everything on this grassy landscape. And that is the end of it. Not a single Autham was lost that day. In fact, only one was barely halfway damaged. That is a pretty bad loss for Seacraft, and it's going to leave a pile of mass over there to be reclaimed by the ever-efficient engineers of Depony, who has picked up a whopping 10,000, almost 11,000 mass so far in reclaim. And what? Kraft has passed him. It is a legit 12,000 on his board. 2,000 ahead of Pony. Pony has had a leg up in eco though for a bit, so I think this is still a fair game in mass potential. I'm gonna have to look at the scoreboard on the end of this one just to see the fluctuations back and forth on this one, because this is just a tight game. I still can't call who wins on this one. The Authams are scary, but you see what's going on down here? This is a T3 factory pumping out its fourth Percival. Those guys are going to be able to kite like bosses. There are point defense scattered all over the place on the south side. I don't think that Pony is going to be able to crack this base. And if he's not, he is going to end up doing a favor to No Fear. He's going to leave a bunch of mass on the table over here. And that is going to be scooped up by these Vigilant Engies and used to build more Perseus. 2 Perseus versus 2 Othams. We all know who wins there. The Othams are dead, all except for 2, and those are heavily damaged. We do have a few T1 units still remaining up on the north side. Oh, attack missiles reaching out, killing off some more mexes, reducing Pony's eco even further. He's got to make sure that this ACU does not die to a stray Otham. Looks like we're having a concentrated effort going down to snipe that commander. The overcharge is there, though. Can't walk the ACU into the water. There are a pile of T1 subs over there. Do not want to dip a toe. Dip a toe. Oh, that's not good. Janus's, tanks, everything meeting these units. Pony, you don't want to come too far forward. I know you're going for map control. I know it's working out for you so far, but this is dangerous, yo. This is dangerous. Back the hell up, or you're gonna die. There are 3 Percivals over there, and that would eat through all of that health very, very quickly. 2 third Otham coming back up. No, don't move forward. Don't move forward. You could still win this, Pony. Don't do it. The Percivals are in firing range. No! 2 more shots, and he's gone. Well, dang. He had just won air control hard. He was moving out his Zooey spam to once again go and just ravage the backside of No Fear's base, and he was ready to expand into the map once again. That was by no means lost, but a misstep with the ACU. Dang it. Not that I can say anything. I've done that on many, many occasions. Let's, can we get to... I'm going to end the replay, and yes. There we go. We can see the graph. Look at how close this is. No Fear ahead, then Pony very far ahead, and then No Fear again with the blip at the end. It's interesting to look at these when you get to the end of it. Resources, mass collected, and mass spent is virtually identical, just a few thousand apart on both of these players. Well, guys, that is gonna wrap it up for me on this one. I hope you enjoyed getting back into the casting just a little bit. I'm gonna try to get at least one of these up a week from here for the next little bit. I'm not gonna tie myself to an indefinite timeline, but I'm looking forward to get back into casting just a little bit. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.